Key performance indicators are a special type of calculation that we can add to our cube. More precisely, a key performance indicator is a set of calculations, and accordingly, there's a separate designer just for KPIs. In this set of calculations, we have four separate expressions: value, goal, status, and trend. Let's look at each of them separately. First, the value is the value that we're measuring. It represents the current state of some metric. So, for example, if we have a KPI to track our sales growth, then the value is sales growth. We can track this as an absolute value, or as a percentage as shown here, where we're calculating growth as a percentage of the previous time period's sales. Then we have the goal, which is the target that we're aiming for. This could be an expression or a fixed value. In this case, our goal is to have the sales growth 5% higher than the previous period. We create a tuple to retrieve the sales growth percent for the previous time period and multiply it by 1.05 to get the target value. Next, we have the status, which is where we create an expression to quantify how close the value is to the goal and to express that using a range from -1 to 1. We want to return a -1 value when we're not achieving the goal at all, a 0 value when we're moving towards the goal but not meeting expectations, and a 1 value when we're close to the goal, at the goal, or exceeding the goal. How we determine where the boundaries are between -1, 0, and 1 will depend on business requirements and might be subjective. For our purposes, we'll say that a value of 1 is possible only when we're within 85% of the goal. Otherwise, we get a 0 for status, unless the value is below 50% of the goal, in which case we want to return -1. As part of the status definition, we also choose an image to associate with these quantitative values. The idea is to have a dashboard constructed of KPIs, which tells us at a glance through images whether we're on track to meet our goals or not. Then last, we have trend, which is used to compare a value in one time period to a previous period. It's up to us to determine whether that time period is the previous period, or a year-over-year period, or a moving average type of trend. As with status, we need to return a value between -1 and 1. A -1 value is a negative trend, which will display as an arrow pointing downward, whereas a 1 value is a positive trend and will display an arrow pointing upward. In our example here, we're just doing a simple comparison of the current period to the previous period.